This is a feature film based on Russian folk legends. The horror movie I look forward to most in 2020. Baba Yaga, Terror of the Dark Forest. Actually in Mosquito Man 2 and Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen. Baba Yaga's name has also been mentioned. If you still play Tomb Raider, then you should know there is a DLC named Baba Yaga. So what is that Baba Yaga after all? In the movie, she is the witch of the folklore of Slavic, Russian, also called Yaga grandmother. In legend she lives in a place where yin and yang mingles. She ate children. She often sent her subordinates who were half birds around to catch children for her. Captured children will gradually be forgotten. When the child has completely forgotten, the child will completely disappear. But there was a pure boy who defeated the witch. Locked her up in the underworld. So the witch is always looking for someone with a pure soul, who can cross the two worlds of yin and yang. It is also the person who has experienced death, to help her escape from the underworld. The male is an unlucky person. A few years ago, he and his mother had a problem. Mom died. Later his father married another woman. Gave birth to a sister. The stepmother is not bad with the male lead. But the male lead is still at an unruly youthful age. So there is always distance from the stepmother. But he is a standard sister maniac man. He still really likes his sister. That day he went to school as usual. Seeing three thugs are bullying a female student. Also the main female character of the movie. The male lead stepped forward to help the heroine. Two people just like that got to know each other. But because the girl's mother is a very strict, old-fashioned person, any relationship that looks like love is unacceptable. The male lead is a bit disappointed. After going home, he discovered his father invited a new nanny to take care of him and his sister. But this nanny is very strange, always saying weird things. Not like a good person. There seemed to be something shady to father. So in one match, the male lead mentioned this to his father. The two did not match, quarreled. The male lead angrily smashed the ball to the ground. The basketball ball flew out into the field. Stepped on by a wanderer. The wanderer returned the ball to them. Then went into forest. Since then, in the house, strange things happened. The male lead has just entered the room and found his sister not in a crib, but sat alone on the chair. When he was feeling strange, the nanny came in and said that the male lead should not put his sister on the chair. Not explaining yet. The stepmother also entered, asking the male lead why he put his sister on the chair. The male lead is angry. That evening, the male lead woke up and picked up the phone. Through the camera, he checked the situation of the sister. Another black shadow was found at the side of the sister's crib. He immediately got up and entered his sister's room. But no one was detected. But looking at the camera again, there was another person sitting in a chair. The male lead holding the camera walked over to the seat. At this time, the male lead heard a sound from behind. Turning to look, good baby. A jet black claw crawled up the edge of her sister's bed. Suddenly, something half human and half bird appeared in front of him. The male lead was scared and ran back to the room and locked the door. Outside the door was continuously strange footsteps. Through the doorway, he looked outside. Outside the door, one leg was a sharp metal prosthetic. That footsteps. The door is open. Outside is dark, not a shadow. The heroine quickly picked up a basketball beside him and threw it over. That was the stepmother. He tried talking to his father. But in the backup camera, there was no figure that he said. Everyone does not believe him. The male lead is very angry. At the time he got up to close the door, he saw clear marks on the floor. The imprint of the prosthetic leg left by the one-legged person. On the second day, the male lead once again met the female lead. While the two were talking, three thugs with knives came. The two ran into a log house in the forest to escape. There was not a single figure in the log house. There is only one very bizarre oven. The heroine told a story that grandma once told her. She said this furnace was used to burn living people. After these people died, souls would be around here. Softly shout your name. If you turn your head to look, the face will be torn. After that, the male lead actually heard a voice inside. But the heroine laughed, saying she was just joking. The two also didn't notice. At this time 3 thugs ran into the forest. Then were wrapped by a bunch of red ropes. The wanderer appeared again, grabbing the leader. Drive them out of the woods. Also warned them not to enter the forest anymore. Besides, the stepmother is sewing her sister's socks with red wool. After taking a nap, she discovered that the house was filled with red wool. The baby is also gone. Outside the door there was a strange figure. Through camera, the male lead saw the abnormality in the house. He hastily returned. But he found everything normal. It was already dark. The heroine said she had to go back to learn the piano. But after seeing off the heroine, the male lead returned to his sister. Discovered the sister who was still in bed. Turned into an old toy. Light flickered in the living room. He seemed to see a figure again. Then, on the floor, footsteps were heard. The male lead was pushed to the ground. In a panic, he saw his sister locked in the oven. He woke up in shock, found himself lying on the bed. Could all this be a dream? He quickly stood up. And found the furniture in his sister's room all disappeared. Also a picture of their happy family. The sister also disappeared. He talked about this with dad and stepmother. But they do not remember that they still have a daughter. Feeling he's making a fuss again. The male lead finds a sister's pacifier from a cupboard. As soon as he opened his hand, the pacifier also disappeared. The male lead is extremely angry. They forgot his sister. Like when they forgot his mother. Dad heard that and got crazy. He pushed the male lead into the water bath to wake him up. Then locked him in the room. He thought for a moment, contacting the heroine. The two of them made an appointment 20 minutes later to meet at the sports field. But when the heroine was about to go out, she was stopped by her mother. And said men are not trustworthy, not allowed to love. Learn the piano only. The heroine just went back to practice piano. The teacher who teaches the piano came. It turned out that she was the nanny of the male lead. Yes, in fact the nanny is the half-bird helping Yaga capturing the children. She lured these parents. Make them control the children, then forget about them. The male lead's father and the heroine's mother had apparently got trapped. The heroine really no longer has the mind to practice piano. She went to the front door again. And found mother still standing there. Fidgeting in an unusual way. Under the skirt one leg had turned into a pointed prosthetic. Next, the heroine was also controlled by half-bird. It is not easy for the male lead to escape from the room and go out to meet the female lead. But the heroine suddenly widened her eyes, pushing the main male to the ground. Fortunately, the male lead grabbed her, shaking her vigorously for a while to help her regain consciousness. At this time, the thugs came to them. Only 2 left. Why? Because that day after being kicked out by a wanderer, one of them turned around, eyes wide as well. Very clearly, that person was restrained and taken away. Everyone did not remember him anymore. The boy wants revenge on the wandering man. Deliberately let the male and female lead lead to the home of the wanderer. One of them stood outside to walk. But after entering they discovered, in the house of the wanderer are photos of village children, even the photos of the 4 of them are in it. At this time sound transmitted under the bed, the main male knelt down to see it, a small hand reached out to claw the male lead. But under the bed there was clearly nothing, they are considered to break into people's homes, the police came, everyone can't run. They discovered a photo. In the wanderer's house, the male lead just looked, isn't this my house nanny? The heroine also looked, isn't this my piano teacher? The two looked at each other silently, the wanderer is back. The watchman seeing the wanderer turned and ran away, forget about being the watcher, so after the wanderer enters the house, timely caught the 3 of them. But the heroine was prepared, used a stun stick to shock the wanderer. As expected the girl of the fighting nation, they tied the wanderer, questioned the cause of everything. It turned out that the woman in the picture is his wife. The 2 of them inherently have a daughter, but she was captured by Yaga, the daughter was taken away. Wife also died, so the person appearing in front of the male and female is not human anymore, it's a half-bird who transforms into the look of his wife. In the past we have talked about the captured children slowly being forgotten by people, but who wander always remembers his daughter through the candle. So he started investigating this, take pictures of many children, finding these children after being taken away will disappear from the photo, but it has been so long, he still cannot find the lair of his daughter and Yaga. There is only a pile of red threads in the forest. At this timid male lead stood up to observe the symbol of the wanderer on the map. The central of these red threads is the wooden house with that furnace. So the three children arrived in front of the log house. They found a path in the furnace again. After a flash of intense light, three people fell into a coma. When they woke up they were still at the side of the oven, but this world seems a bit different. The heroine arrives home, then was locked in the poster by the AI phone. Fortunately the male lead smashed the phone, just rescued the heroine. They are aware that this is no longer the original world. Once again came back home of the tramp. The sister's red sock was found on the floor. At this moment a white-haired girl climbed up from under the bed, carrying the male lead's sister. It turned out that she was the daughter of the wanderer, Seta, the little girl who always protects the sister, because the wanderer has not forgotten her yet. So she hasn't really died, but based on the degree of blinding that can be seen, the wanderer will quickly forget about his daughter. At this Timothy male and female lead also discovered that their eyes were blatant. This proves that family members are gradually forgetting about themselves. Now they must quickly find a way to return. The half-bird find the place. To attract the attention of the half-bird, Seta actively showed up to let the half-bird capture her. Yaga awakened and began to eat people. The boy who was taken away by the half-bird awoke in the lair. Seeing at the scene of their forgotten friends being eaten, he desperately struggled. Fortunately Seta appeared again, helping him remove the rope on his body. By the time Yaga was eating, he took them out of the lair. So they come again in front of the oven. Even though Seta had told them this place could only be in it, couldn't be out, but the male lead still holds hope, preparing to try. But unexpectedly this time it was really successful, because the male is the one who has been through death. That was the time he and his mother got into that car accident, so he possesses the power to kill the Yaga. You can call him the chosen child. When the three of them took their sister with Seta about to leave, at that moment, then the wanderer suddenly blew out the candle. He wants to completely forget about his daughter. So how many years has Seta been waiting for? Seeing hope but can't touch hope. Just like that, disappear into space. Originally thought that returning to the real world, it would all be over. Unexpectedly, the three of them were forgotten by everyone. Seeing the sister turning into a toy, the male lead stood in his sister's room, crying in despair. At this time stepmother entered. Look at this strange boy crying in front. Immediately asked why he was crying. Not waiting for the male lead to answer, she said, I always see a baby girl crying in my dream. The male lead immediately saw hope. Quickly take out a red sock and hand it to the stepmother. And tell her that baby is her daughter. She must remember it. As long as you remember it, it won't die. After saying that, he immediately stood up, preparing to go to the log house again. But just went out and he met his father. The father was in a hypnosis. He lost his mind. Wanted to stab him. The male lead has the main character's aura, but was still unable to fight back his father's grip. At that critical moment, the stepmother injured the father's arm, so that the male lead can escape. The three people gathered again. Prepare to use the oldest method to defeat Yaga. That is using fire to burn the witch. They went back to the home of the wanderer. Light the candle to let him remember his daughter. And came in front of the oven. The three of them once again entered the dual world. The wanderer is also about to enter, but was caught by half-bird. And this half-bird was his long-dead wife. It turned out that Yaga had deceived the wife. Let her think that catching that boy can help her return to Earth. You can save your daughter. The male lead was tied up by Yaga with red threads, threatening him to help her return to Earth, otherwise he will die. At that moment, the two comrades helped him, attracted Yaga's attention, and threw the signal stick to the male lead. The male lead burned the signal stick, for Yaga being burnt red. At the same time all the threads fell. Baba Yaga completely vanished. In the ashes, the sister was sitting not far away. Stepmother remembers her daughter. The daughter-related objects in the house are back as well. The three of them brought their sister through the furnace back to the real world. The male lead burns the bungalow, returns home. They return to a warm family of four. All are over. They went to the tramp's bungalow to play. 4 people take a photo. But then, the candle flared up once again. Seta appeared again. After watching this movie, I felt the plot was a bit familiar. Like The Wretched, we used to review before. The child taken away will also be forgotten. If you like, you can click on my homepage to find it. This is the reviewer. If you like, do not forget to follow and support me. See you next time.